does making changes to a castle trust restart the 5-year clock?
Welcome to Barry's Bites. Please join our host, attorney and advisor Chris Barry.
In reality, we have two main types of trusts. We have a revocable living trust. And what a revocable living trust does is two things. And it does these two things very well. And it's a good trust. One is it avoids probate, assuming it's funded properly. So most people want to avoid probate because it's a core process, it's time consuming, it's messy on the back end. And then two, what a revocable living trust does is that it can control that distribution. So you can control where your assets go at the end of the day. So it can control the distribution. For example, if you wanted to build in this legacy inheritance trust that we talked about, you can do that inside of a revocable living trust. So that's pretty powerful. Then we have a second type of trust called a castle trust. Okay, and what a castle trust does is it avoids probate, so that's important, right? Most people, that's kind of the starting point for their estate plan. Two, we can control the distribution, so decide how we leave things to our beneficiaries. And we can either leave it outright to them or it could be held in trust for their benefit. Again, protecting against divorces, lawsuits, creditor action, bankruptcy, etc. And then three, it builds in asset protection. And this is the big one. This is what a revocable living trust does not. And when we're talking about asset protection, we're talking about lawsuits. So immediately, whatever you move into the trust is protected from creditors, bankruptcies. You get in a car accident with the changes in auto insurance law. You're a business owner, whatever's inside of the trust would be protected. And then the big thing is it protects against the devastating costs of long-term care. And really what we're talking about here is nursing home costs. Okay, nursing home right now costs about $8,000 to about $14,000+ per month. And the average stay in a nursing home right now is 2.5 years. And current statistics say 1 out of 2 individuals will need nursing home costs. So you do the math. That's a big concern for a lot of my clients, especially married couples. So, and with that, we have a governmental program that'll help pay for nursing home care, and it's called Medicaid. Now, a lot of people think if you're on Medicaid, you're in some rundown nursing home. That's not the case. Any nursing home that accepts Medicare also typically accepts Medicaid. But if you're to try to call up a nice nursing home and say, hey, I need a nursing home bed for my loved one or a Medicaid bed, they're going to say, oh, I'm sorry, we don't have any Medicaid beds available. But here's the thing, you private pay for a couple months to get in that nice nursing home, then you can flip over and have Medicaid pay that base level of care. It's kind of like back when you could travel. So if you were flying to California, you might buy a ticket to California and it's $700. Well, the person sitting next to you in the same exact seat, maybe it's first class just like you or coach or whatever it may be, same exact level of service, they might have bought their ticket for $99 just based on where they bought it or the timing, that type of thing. So they're both getting the same level of service, both going to the same place, but you're paying very different things. Similar with Medicaid is that we can have Medicaid pay that base level of care. And then with, say, a castle trust, we move the assets into the castle trust, we make it 5 years, then everything inside of the trust would be protected from that nursing home or Medicaid spend down. So now you could have Medicaid pay that base level of care, and then you'd have a pot of resources available to pay for additional services to improve your quality of life. Or if you're a married couple and one spouse needs long-term care, that healthy spouse isn't going to be completely impoverished having to pay for that care. Now, Medicaid has a 5-year look-back period, meaning Medicaid's going to look back 5 years to see if you moved any money around. And if you have, they're going to penalize you. So again, what the Castle Trust does is as soon as we move the assets into the trust, it starts that 5-year clock, where now we wave a green flag to say that we started that race. And then once we make it 5 years, everything inside of that trust is protected from that nursing home or Medicaid spend down. And so the question is, and it was really a twofold question. So the first question is, with the Castle Trust, because you can make changes to it, you can change beneficiaries and that type of thing. If you were to make a change to the trust, does it restart that 5-year clock? And the answer to that is no. Just because you make a change to the trust, that does not restart the 5-year clock. And then a follow-up question, and this is one that I get a lot, is that if I were to sell my house from that castle trust and let's say downsize to a condo, does that restart the clock? And the answer to that is no, because all you're doing is you're changing the nature of the assets in the trust. For example, if you had $500,000 of cash in the trust and then you bought a condo, everything's remaining in the trust, so it remains protected. If you had $500,000 of checking, savings, and now you want to go to a mutual fund, all of that remains in the trust and it remains protected. So again, if you were to sell your property, as long as everything remains in the trust, the proceeds of the sale would come back to the trust, doesn't touch you individually, then everything would remain protected in the trust and it would not restart that 5-year clock. I have a lot of clients that they downsize or they sell, they move into independent living or assisted living, and the proceeds of that sale remain protected inside of the trust. So yes, you can sell the house from the trust.